You ever had one of those days where you're going into a thought that you have not tested yet? But I did. That's been the theme of my entire Thursday morning. I mean, like it's like I had a timer fail on me during an exercise, and like twice, two different timers failed on me. I have no idea how well or how poorly I did. I mean, I know how poorly I did because I was supposed to run this morning, because obviously today was supposed to be a running exercise, because I talked yesterday about how much I don't like to run. I'm back on trust again. And trust is a big one, I think, right now, because we are in the middle of our family situations, which we're supposed to trust, and finding out how much we can trust them or can't trust them. And we're in the middle of the things that we need to work right, and a lot of them don't. And so I'm re-exploring this idea of trust again. And as I was running, I'd ask God, like, where does trust happen? What do you do with trust when it's broken? When you know how trustworthy someone is, what do you do? And it's two completely different, conflicting images came back to me. One of them was the image of Saul. One of them the image of David. One of them the image of Sodom and Gomorrah. One of them the image of Nineveh. And it's the idea of like this one and then this one. With Saul, God washed his hands of that king. He said, "Okay, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I'm going to raise up this king right here, and he's going to be my guy. You're the guy that everybody looks at, but he's going to be the guy that everybody needs." And so that's how it ended up. David came along and he murdered one of his generals because his wife was cute, and they made a mistake together. That wasn't really a mistake. It was just him taking what he wanted because he could. And God restored him. Sodom and Gomorrah got blasted into nowhere. I got to see an archaeologist who suggested it was like a meteorite that actually came down out of the sky and exploded over the ground and like blew people into walls, is what they think they found in this archaeological dig. And then Nineveh, which had earned a good meteorite kablooey, and they repented and God restored them. Peter, who denied, in the moment that Jesus needed a friend there beside him, denied that he even knew him, swore at himself, cursed himself if it be false. Judas sold him out. One of them is remembered as the father of the church. The other one is remembered as the chief of betrayers. We carry each other's burdens. We carry one another's burdens. And at some point in time, we either have to do what Jesus said and not throw our pearls before swine, and not waste our time on people who are just going to take what we're giving them and just absolutely trample them to the ground. And we have to balance that with the idea that we will restore those who have sinned against us. And there is a line between the two. And I don't have a solid answer about how to find that balance this morning. I'm just telling you there needs to be a balance, and there needs to be a tension. And there can't just be a run to do your default. I have a default. And just transparently, my default is you hurt me, I'm done with you. Cut you off, smile at you real big, and not ever ask you what your actual opinion is ever again, because I don't trust you. And that ain't good. I mean, it's like, okay, it's my default. Okay, there it is. But maybe I need to do more. Maybe I need to do different. And the other side of that is to just be a living dope, and to not actively restore people, but just to be all lovey-dovey and forgiving, and actively wound yourself without actually being healthy about things. That's the other extreme. And somewhere between those two extremes is the way that we live our lives with actual, real human beings. And the biggest part of this whole thing for me is that, I myself am involved in violating other people's trust. And so, the big thing I think about this entire time I'm running back and forth on this quarter-mile track this morning, between that and jumping on top of a box, because that's exercise, is that I have people who depend on me for stuff, and I fail them. Not constantly, not like chronically, but I do fail them. By small measures, by little failures. And it's hard. And doing life with people is hard. I think that the balance strikes, though, when we bear each other up with God and not just try and muscle someone up just because, like, okay, I can just take this a little while longer. We take that burden and we place it in the strong arms of Jesus Christ, because he is the one who manages the burdens, okay? When he says, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, he is the one who assigns those things. He's the one who says, okay, you are going to do this work. We don't get this. We're not the ones who say, okay, I'll take this until it gets too hard and then Jesus. No, we take our assignments from Jesus. And if we're carrying a person and their burdens, it's because he has given us that burden. That is our person to carry because Jesus has given that person to us. And if we are harming ourselves with real harm, we need to go back and say, did you do this or did I just assume this? And we need to be real clear about that, because if we are carrying someone as a burden and we are not the one who's supposed to be carrying them, we're actually taking someone else's work, and we're doing both ourselves, the person who's supposed to be doing that work, and that person who is the work, or their burden is the work. All three of us harm. And we need to do that work better. Maybe the healthiest thing we can do today, along with giving those burdens back to Jesus and saying, okay, is this really mine, or is this just, am I just like developing a God complex? Give it back to him and receive back whatever it is he says, yes, this is yours to do, is also bring the burden that is us. Bring you to him and say, what did I do? What have I done? Please show me the places where I need to keep my accounts short. And please help me to apologize well, to restore these relationships to their fullest and strongest place they can be. It's humble and humbling work, but people are worth it. Our people are worth it. Like, as I've been sitting here, I've been seeing my phone light up over here telling me that a person that I treasure who came out hot on something I posted on social media has replied twice. And I don't know if he's hot. I don't know if he's like, oh yeah, well maybe this. He's worth it though. So are you. Spend the time and accept the time. Today is going to be a good day. It may require more work than some.